Hello and welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Millie and today's video is going to be a little bit different. I'm very much into indie makeup and indie single eyeshadows and eyeshadow palettes, but today I'm going to be putting on some e.l.f. Cosmetics products, which e.l.f. Cosmetics honestly hasn't really interested me in a very long time until pretty much this year, because they've been releasing some actually pretty fun and different products. Well, not really different, but you know what I mean. They're just a little out of the e.l.f. Cosmetics comfort zone. And so about like a month or two ago, I tried the e.l.f. and J. Kissa collab palette, which was the first e.l.f. eyeshadow palette I used in probably years. So that was exciting. I really enjoyed that palette and I will link that video down below if you're interested. I did a few looks with that palette. So they have a bunch of products. There's some products that are new and there's some products that I've had for a little while. Of course, I will let you know which ones are new and which ones are not. But the main purpose of this video is for me to do some face swatches with the blush and highlight duos. I grabbed 5. One of them came completely shattered. I might try to swatch it, but it looked like it was going to be too dark for me anyways. So unfortunately, that duo couldn't make it into this video, but I have these other 4. And so these are called Bite Size, just like their eyeshadow palettes. And I have the shades White Peach, Cantaloupe, Lychee, and Guava. And I felt like the photos on their website and just the launch photos in general were really inaccurate, because these look way different in person than in those shots. I feel like they didn't really do a great job portraying the true colors. Based on the website, I felt like these two would be too similar, which is White Peach and Cantaloupe. But they're actually pretty different. Cantaloupe's like pretty much like a yellowy blush. So I'm excited. I'm gonna do one on each side and I'm gonna layer the highlighter on so you can kind of see, and I'm just gonna keep taking my foundation off. So now let's talk about some of the other products. I will be also trying the e.l.f. Bite Size palette in Acai. This is pretty much the only color story that really spoke to me out of the entire collection that they have of these. I also like the green one, but honestly I have so many green palettes. I felt like this one was the most unique, especially for e.l.f. This color story is a little interesting. I haven't used it yet. I have swatched it and it doesn't seem too promising, so I'm a little skeptical. And then I also got their new e.l.f. Sheer Slick Lip Tint in, or something like that, in Cherry Slush, which is what that looks like. Really beautiful shade. I have used this. And then there's these 2 products that came free with my order. One of them is the HD Lifting Concealer in the shade Light, which it looks like this is not light, but we'll see. And then a setting powder. This is Banana, and it says it's for deep tone, but I have definitely used yellow toned setting powders under my eyes and I did like them for me, so I'm gonna try it out anyways. And I also got the Total Face Sponge Duo, which I'm not gonna be using these. I obviously already have my base on, but you can never have too many sponges, honestly, especially cheap sponges. The next thing is actually a brush. I have had, I think, some brushes from them like a long time ago. They were not great. They tend to have a lot of really large blending brushes, and I'm very, very, very particular in my brush size and shape and all of that. So, but I saw this one on their website called the Detail Crease, and this is what it looks like. It's very small, very, very much close to some of my favorite Refer brush and Wayne Goss brush sizes. So I really wanted to just try it out. I think it was like $2, so you know, why not? And then for the things that I've already had this e.l.f. Oh, it doesn't say it anywhere. That's so weird. It's basically an under eye primer, kind of similar to the Putty Primer, which is also what I have, and I've already put this on my face and I've used this a few times. This is supposed to be a dupe to the Becca. It's basically like the mushy one that's like $58 from Becca. So this is what the e.l.f. one looks like. There's so much product in here. It doesn't even say on the packaging, but there's a lot. I've been using this here and there. Don't love it, don't hate it, kind of like whatever about it. I feel like some foundations don't want to stick down onto it. And then the last thing that I've already had for some time is the e.l.f. High Definition Powder, which is this giant compact. It literally feels so cheap, like just the sound, and it's going everywhere. But this is just a really finely milled setting powder, translucent, and I don't really use it much because it's just so messy. Like, that's I don't want to have to deal with that every day. I really don't. But we're gonna use it today, and I don't remember if I loved it. I don't think I really love it or hate it either. So we just have a bunch of products I'm going to be putting on my face, so let's get into it. I'm going to start with my eyes, and then I'm going to do the face swatches, and then I'll finish off, you know, the under eye concealer and stuff, because I'm going to be wiping off quite a bit, putting these on my cheeks and taking them off. So let's just hop right into it. So first I'm going to prime my eyes, and I don't have an eyeshadow primer from e.l.f. So I'm going to be using my P. Louise base in shade 0.5, and I'm just going to tap that onto my lids. And it seems from swatching this palette that there's basically kind of a metallic, 2 mattes, and a satin, which, just like, I hate satins. They're just so useless in my personal opinion. And I'm not going to set my primer this time because I feel like these are going to need a little bit of help with the tackiness. So first I'm going to dip into this lightest matte shade, and we shall see. Very powdery, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I know some people don't like that. I don't mind it. Is it annoying? Yes. And that is just light, like it was in the pan. I'm going to try to pack on a little bit more, and that's actually pretty nice. But again, I mean, it's like a pastel shade, so I can only get so much out of it. But it's blending out fine. And so for the outer corner, I'm going to go in with that little brush that I got from e.l.f. and I'm going to go into the deeper matte. And we're going to pack that on the outer corner. And I can already tell it's kind of patchy. I feel like this is not going to want to stay on. And I'm like not sure if it's the brush's fault, so I am going to switch my brush just to try it out. And so instead I'm going to go in with the Sonia G Worker Pro, which I like using this one to just pack on, and you can see how much that picked up. So we will see. It's definitely packing on great. I feel like this is one of those shadows that just doesn't really want to be blended out on top of something else. But it's definitely a lot better. This is kind of what I was expecting to happen from just swatching it. Next I'm going to go into this metallic shade, and I'm going to first just try to apply it without wetting my brush and see how that goes. And that's actually not too bad, but I do really think that wetting my brush would really help. Let's try that again. That's definitely better. So much fallout. Definitely picked up way too much. But that's a really pretty shade. I feel like it's like lifting the matte shade on the outer corner here. It's really weird. And I'm just gonna go back in with that matte and try to clean it up on the edge here. Not the greatest. Surprise, I'm back, and I put on some lashes, and I actually also ended up doing a wing. I just really didn't like the outer corner situation, and I feel like a wing can kind of hide some of the patchiness. I threw on the Kiss Lashes in Veil. Really great, affordable, very light, not too long. Highly recommend. So now let's get into the blush swatches. So I'm going to stay zoomed in, and the first one I'm going to go in with is Litchi, which is basically a kind of cool toned pink. It's like almost a little bit on the mauve side. And then the highlighter here, it looks a little darker, so I'm curious to see how that's going to translate. It might sheer out. To apply the blush, I'm going to be using my Luxe Cheek Finish Zoeva brush. And for the highlighter, I'm actually going to be using this blending brush from Clionadh Cosmetics from the Stained Glass collection. It was just way too big for my eyes, so I've been using it as a highlighter brush, and it works really great. Actually very pigmented. I'm surprised. It swatches, like, it feels a little dry and chalky, but it looks like it's applying really nicely. In real life, I don't know why it looks like almost a little orangey on my skin tone, but I don't think it's translating quite the same on the camera. Very nice, no patchiness, no nothing. This is kind of the level of blush that I'm comfortable with. And then I'm gonna go in with the highlighter on top of that. Very, very beautiful. This is seems to be that kind of formula of highlighter where it's just like very, very reflective without being glittery though. So very nice. I think it really goes well with this color. And it did sheer out a little bit. So next on the other cheek, I'm going to go in with Cantaloupe, which I'm really, really excited about this one. I just love this kind of blush on me. Looks like it will be very, very pretty. Very pigmented. I know it's not, like, again, it's just not translating in the camera, at least in the viewfinder. So I'm going to put on a lot. But it's very, very yellowy orangey, and I do like that, but that can sometimes make me look a little bit like sickly, so I would probably mix this with another shade. And then I'm gonna put on the highlighter on top. Loving this formula of highlighter. That just looks really great on this shade. I love it. So what I did, I turned down the brightness so you could maybe see a little bit better what I'm talking about. And this is what that side looks like. Just looks like I have a lot more on when the light isn't blown out. So I'm gonna wipe that off. So the next shade up is Guava, which is very vibrant, so I will be interested to see. I feel like this highlighter color doesn't really match it necessarily, but we'll see once it's on the cheek. It might look a bit different. And I did not set my cheeks or anything like that. Again, trying to put on a little bit more than usual, just so you can see. Blends so easily. Very, very nice and very buildable, which is what I like. And going in with the highlighter. Highlighter seems a little too dark for my skin tone, and I really think it is, especially putting it on top of this blush. It's a little dark casty on me, so I probably wouldn't get much use out of the highlighter, but I love the blush. And last step is White Peach, which is this one. I thought it would be really close to Cantaloupe, but this one's definitely more orangey while the other one is yellowy. That picked up so much. I need to tap that off. That's a lot. I just love that these are only $3, like 3 doll hairs. And putting this on, love this color. Really, really beautiful shade. And then going in with the highlighter. I love this formula of all these highlighters. I just gotta say, they're not glittery, they're not like super heavy. They really just blend out to give you this sheen. So turn on the brightness again so you could see what they look like under a lower light. And so you can see the highlighter is just really blinding. So next I'm going to finish my under eyes, and I'm going to be going into the e.l.f. under eye primer and just tapping that underneath my eyes. I've used this a couple of times and I didn't really see like a huge difference per se, or like wear time or crease ability, but I mean it doesn't hurt. And then I'm going to go in with the e.l.f. concealer, which I think is going to be way too dark for me, which it says light, but sometimes blending it out helps. But nope, that is definitely too dark, so I'm just gonna wipe that off. Put on my ColourPop concealer, the No Filter concealer, and blend that out. And then I'm going to go in with the banana shade powder. And it's so light that you can't really even tell if it's yellow or not. And that set it really nicely. And then lastly, I'm just going to finish off this eye look. So now the only thing left to put on my face is the Sheer Slick lipstick. I think it's lipstick or some lip tint or something. Such a pretty shade. It feels really nice. I feel like I'm gonna get a lot of use out of this. It feels super nice and hydrating. So now lastly, what's left is the setting powder. So I'm gonna just lightly set my forehead and around the perimeter of my face. I don't really like to set anywhere else because then it's just, I don't like looking too matte, but I also don't like the feeling of my hair sticking to the sides of my face, so that's why I only set pretty much there, and then on my chin. And that's kind of it. Very light powder. I think it's super nice and it's not, doesn't look too heavy on my face, which is something I do like about it. So I would like to use it more, but it's just so messy, so we'll see. I'll keep you updated. So that's all the products I had to play with. I am not the biggest fan of the eyeshadow palette so far. I know I've used it once, but just seeing how it works, I can't imagine that I'm gonna fall in love with it. I really like the pastel lighter shade for like a transition shade, but the deeper matte was just, I don't know if I can probably try to make it work, but I don't think it will. I love the blushes and the highlighters. Very excited to see that from such an affordable brand. The lip seems really nice and definitely going to be using that quite a bit. And then some of the other products, the concealer obviously didn't work out. It's just too dark from my skin tone. And then the setting powder was nice. Both the setting powders are nice, and the under eye primer is good. I don't know if it does anything really. And I also want to use this brush quite a few more times with different eyeshadows and see how it performs, because I just love that it's so affordable. And then, as I mentioned kind of earlier in the video, the Poreless Putty Primer, I don't know, I think it's good. Sometimes I really like it, sometimes I don't. I don't know if it really does anything in terms of longevity, but it definitely fills in my pores here and on my nose. So I do like that. So I'm really looking forward to see what e.l.f. releases in the future. They seem to be really stepping it up with the kind of products they are releasing. I think their eyeshadow still needs some help, but otherwise the face products and the lip products, just very great and affordable. Let me know in the comments below which duo shade was your favorite and if you are going to be picking any of them up. So that's everything for this video. If you enjoyed watching, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. I post 3 times a week and I have a bunch of playlists and other videos, and I will leave some of them up on the screen in case you want to hang out with me just a little bit longer. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.